understand me, because here's the first goal, the first important thing to know about global business. Communication is the most important skill in the world and in our industry. So I'm not talking about how many languages, but here's what effective communication is. Can I, as a sender, deliver a message to you as a receiver and you actually get what I'm trying to say? If not, it doesn't matter how good I am. It doesn't matter what I say, how good the information is. It's all for nothing. Everyone understand that? Yes? All right, this is going to be interactive. Now, I get excited, so I have to slow down. I'm the son of a Navy man. Now, top 5 countries of origin for foreign buyers in the U.S. Now, I do believe in public shaming, I mean accountability. So, if you think the answer is A, raise your hand. Oh, we can raise, okay, we got one A. If you think the answer is B, raise your hand. If you think the answer is C, raise your hand. The answer is C. Top 5 countries of origin for foreign buyers in the U.S. Which country surprised you? Okay, so one thing I want us to remember, and so as I'm telling you all these answers, everything that we have, I'm going to show you all where to get the information. It's from NAR's report, right? NAR.Realtor, and then we go to Global Resources. NAR.Realtor, and it's going to be at Global Resources. But here's what I want to remind you. I'm going to say something that sounds like a joke, but it is not. We have to remember that Mexico is another country, right? And because especially when I'm in Texas talking to my friends, they forget that Mexico is another country. Now, what are the 2 things we're told to never talk about in real estate? Go. What are the 2 things we're told to never talk about in real estate? Religion and politics. So here's what I'm going to tell you. In global real estate, we have to know religion and politics. And the reason I bring this up right now, many of us are surprised by Mexico because maybe some political conversations that we've heard about the country of Mexico and their inhabitants and about their ability to purchase. So what we have to start understanding, we've got to do the research. We've got to start knowing. Now, this important distinction, this is from 2022, from 2021 through 2022. What have we still been impacted by from 21 to 22? The pandemic, travel. So we are not seeing, typically we would have the UK instead of Brazil, all right? So this is where we have to start understanding and knowing what's being said and what isn't being said. Let me tell you all how I make my money. You all want to know how I make all my money? I know what's being said and what isn't being said, and I disseminate that information to consumers and to colleagues. If you can get skilled at that and effectively communicate, there is no limit to how much you can make and how many lives you can impact, all right? Now, top 5 destination states for foreign buyers. How many of you do not remember what your answer was because you didn't write it down, right? Okay, cool, so here we go. Top 5 destination states for foreign buyers. Florida, Texas, California, New York, and Arizona. Number 6 is going to be North Carolina, and 7 is going to be New Jersey. Now, why is this important? When I look at this, when you look at this, not just because now you're 0 for 2, but why is this important? Oh, you guys got it. Why is this important? When you see this, what does this tell you as a global business practitioner? What are you, oh, and interactive portion begins now. When you see this, how are we going to use this information? I'm sorry, sir?
Get your customers to consider those states.
Okay, get your customers to consider those states. That's one way. What's another way? Referral. What do you mean by referral? Connections. So here's what I'm going to tell you. The first way to build your global real estate business, I'm from Miami. I'm originally from Alabama. I've been in Miami for 17 years now. And so here's what I'll tell you. 67% of my business is done with individuals whose native tongue is not English. I only touch 4% of those transactions. What does that mean? That means I've gotten really good at networking with agents. Why do you all think I'm here? You think I'm here because I like you guys? I'm here because I like and I understand my client base. And so here's what I know. I know that New York, Texas, California, Arizona, North Carolina, New Jersey, I have to make friends because I know already this is where, and we're going to talk 54% of Global buyers purchase in these 5 states. Once we add North Carolina in there, it goes to 58%. Once we add New Jersey in there, it goes to over 60%. So 7 states, 60% of buyers. That's why we have to be strategic. That's how we build a global business. Are you all with me? So here's what I need you all to do. I need you all to start building relationships with agents in these areas. Stop looking for, if you want to be really good, here's the secret sauce. If you want to be good, stop looking for global buyers and sellers. And this is where you guys say, what? Because that's not what we're told, right? We're told to look for buyers and sellers, prospect. Who else should we be looking for instead? Global real estate practitioners. Stop looking for the needle in the haystack. Find the haystack. So me, I don't look for buyers and sellers. Why? Because I work with many high context. If you aren't aware of high context versus low context, I work with high context clientele. My countries, my individuals, high context. We understand this saying, they must know us, like us, and trust us. Can we build trust with a couple of phone calls or emails? Probably not. Can I build trust with a colleague, with you all right here, by doing a presentation like this? The people that you know, right, that when they come into the country or they want to purchase, and you know, New York just isn't quite there for them, but Miami is. Who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters either, by the way, right? So are you all starting to see different ways that we can get into this business? This isn't what we're told in the classes, in the organization. So my coaches and mentors told me 17 years ago, we're going to show you the way to get in and to do business and to build a career, but you've got to trust us, all right? Highest percentage of cash transactions by foreign buyers come from where? What country? Okay, so here's what I need you all. So now some of you think I'm lying. Y'all think I'm lying, I know. You're like, so here's what's important. We tell our kids to listen. Listen to the question. Listen, Linda. All right, if Linda's in here, I apologize. But here's the question. The question is not who spends the most money. That's not the question. Which countries' buyers have the highest percentage of their buyers use cash, right? Canada. What do we know about the Chinese buyer? Help me out, family. What do we know about the Chinese buyer? Now, this is fair housing box. You all see my fair housing box? You all do not get to bump up against the fair housing box walls. Neal, I'm going to take some liberties. I might go outside, but they can kick me out, okay? All right, so we're not going to break any fair housing. We're not going to stereotype. We are going to make some generalizations. Are you all okay with that? Understand the difference. So what do we know about the Chinese buyer as a generalization? Go. Oh, I said go.
They come with cash.
So the Chinese buyer does not come with cash as much as we believe. They're typically leveraging financing, right, here in the U.S. Now, we know that the Chinese buyer, what do we know? They're typically purchasing higher priced properties. We know why they purchase properties is going to be primarily for owner occupancy or for family members to live in, right, for an extended period of time. For school. Canada. Why are Canadians buying properties? Second home. What type of property are they typically purchasing? Most of the Canadians are purchasing something that is either a co-op or typically a condo that can be used seasonally. All right. So here's what you have to think. The question is, what's the highest percentage of cash transactions by foreign buyers? Canada's buyers typically use cash more than any other buyer. One, they're buying less expensive properties. Okay. So this is why it's so important for you to know what NAR, what this information is saying. Because for instance, me, if I'm targeting cash, if I'm talking about interest rates and everything, I know it's not going to affect the Canadians as much as it's going to affect other countries. You all understand why now just inflation interest rates aren't as big a deal for me in my marketplace if I'm working with Canadian buyers. Now, fair housing box. Can we say, hey, all Canadians come work with me? The answer is no. No, the answer is no. You cannot say that. I can't say I only want to work with Chinese buyers. You all know that, right? Nod your heads. We can do what? We can target the type of property that they want. So me, seasonal rental properties. I might go after a Canadian buyer or seasonal use properties. We're okay there? Everyone understand what I'm saying? All right. Is everyone okay with what we're talking about with this idea right here, percentage of cash transactions? Now, the Chinese, they purchase higher priced properties. The Chinese purchase more properties. There are more Chinese cash transactions than any other country, but because of the volume that they have in transactions, the percentage of Chinese buyers who use cash versus Chinese buyers who leverage financing is not as high as Canadian buyers who use cash versus using financing. Do you all understand the difference in the two? Okay. Now, I know what's going to happen. Now for 4 and 5, no one's going to raise their hand. No one's going to participate because you guys are like, I thought I had a 20. Now I'm back at a 0. Totally fine. This isn't my first rodeo. Okay, top type of residential property purchase. Condo, single family, or townhouse? Oh, come on, you guys got to get with me. Condo, single family, or townhouse? Single family. Now, there we go. Some of us are on the board finally. Now, here's what I want to know. Why? Because knowing the answer is not enough. Why is detached single family the typical type of property that global buyers purchase? Why? I'm sorry? Rental? No. Size? No. Come on. Hey, here's what I need. Everyone, you all have these realtor goggles on right now. Everyone take one of your hands. Take your hands. Okay, participate. Take your hands. Take your realtor goggles off. I need you thinking like a global individual. Why am I purchasing property? Owner occupant? Investment? Residency? One more time? Multifamily generational, partially. How many of you were born outside of the U.S.? Raise your hand. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I need you all to get back and remember what it's like coming here. Because here's why. If you were born outside of the U.S., you're at an advantage compared to me. You should be crushing this market. One more. Would you scream that at me, please? The idea of the American dream. So here's what I'm going to tell us. I take it for granted. Me being from here, the American dream is dead. No, it's not. This right here, detached single family homes. For those of you who were born outside of the U.S., you understand innately that owning land, owning property, something that no one can just come and take away without just causing a process, is something special and different. If we start thinking like our clientele, I win because I answer the questions that they're asking. Here's what most of anything about appreciation. They don't care anything about return on investment or if they can sell the home in 5 years. Why? What's their purpose for purchasing a property? They're going to buy it, and then they're going to live in it, and then what are they going to do? Bring family, have the kids. I want you all to just go with me really quickly. You all know, as realtors, we have this thing. I'm down south in Miami. We'll see an Indian family come in, purchase a property. 2 families will live in one home. They'll come back to me, Neal, I want to purchase another property. Fantastic. Someone else is going to say, all right, they're buying that property. Now, one of those families can move out of the first home and move into the second one. Are they doing that? Absolutely not. What are they doing? They're bringing 2 more families in. And then what's their third purchase? Commercial property. Why? Because now I have a staff of people to work. Are they ever going to sell those homes? Probably not. If we as practitioners go into the relationship, let me tell you, if you purchase right now, you can probably sell in 3 years for this. Guess what we just did? We lost them. I need us to take our realtor lenses off when working with our clientele. Now, that's a generalization, but if we start understanding this right here, this detached single family home, especially in the next 2 to 3 years when we see India is probably going to overtake China for the most populous country in the world. So we have to start understanding what that means to us and for our businesses. Are you all okay with those ideas? Last one, top 2 state destinations for Chinese buyers. Can I just get to the answer? You all like, just give us a break. Come on, Neal. California and New York. How many of you guessed California and New York correctly? You all are right for 1 year. You're right for 1 year. What is the answer typically? California and Texas. Why? Why is California, why has California, why will California always be the #1 place for Chinese buyers? proximity. Until, like in Florida, we always heard the Chinese are coming, and we started learning Mandarin, and I was like, no, they're not. 1, proximity, ease of travel. Number 2, education system does just not touch what's on the West Coast. Right? So why is New York on there now? Typically it's California and Texas. So I don't want y'all to know the answers. I want you to understand why. Why is New York on there for 2021 and 2022?
Money.
Money meaning? Let's go deeper. Not money making. Rate meaning? So wait, who said something about pricing? Okay, so typically, remember, generalization, not stereotype. Many of our Asian buyers, they think value, not price or cost. So they were priced out of the New York market because it just didn't make sense in terms of value. Are you all with me? So do you all remember, I was a benefactor of all of you running away from the Northeast, all of your clients running away from the Northeast, coming down to Florida. And everyone was afraid and scared, and they said, we're going to take advantage. And every one of the domestic individuals that left were like, okay, we're leaving New York, we're leaving the Northeast, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, we're coming to Florida. What did the typical Chinese or Asian buyer say? This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for us who aren't afraid of population density, who wearing a mask is an okay thing, right? Things that were new to us. And so here's what I'm going to ask you. Do you look at every challenge and find the opportunity there? Our Asian friends, both Indian and our Chinese buyers, they say there's an opportunity. And so for 2021, 2022, we saw New York jump up. We're anticipating next year is going to be California and Texas again. So we just have to understand proximity is going to be one. All right, are we good so far? That was the last one. I'm sorry?
You don't think it's because they like us?
I don't think it's because they like you. I don't think that they might like you. I don't think enough of them. Well, if you clone yourself and you are out here, they might like you enough. So everyone in here made an A+. Everyone got all 5 correct, right? Yes? Okay, good stuff. Good answer. So I'm from Alabama, I mentioned. So this is a picture of my hometown taken about 6 months ago. There are 1,169, I left. 1,169 people in my hometown. So I've sold more real estate units than there are people in my hometown. So the reason I share this with you is because I've gotten really good at doing this thing right here. It allows my wife and I to travel around the world. Like our son does amazing stuff because of this. But here's why I wanted to share that. Not to brag, but to let you know there is a path. Now, it doesn't look like this. We are not going to lock arms and skip down the yellow brick road. There are going to be some challenges. But my friend wanted me to tell you that, hey, you can do it. Now, maybe you're like me and you don't really trust babies that much, right? Because they bounce and they make funny sounds and stuff comes out of both ends, right? You're like, I'm married to someone and they're not a baby and they make funny noises and stuff comes out of both ends. Well, my friend Dwayne sent a message. Well, I call him Dwayne. You all might know him as The Rock, right? He wanted me to let you know that you can do it too. Now notice I said my friend. We're on a first name basis. Well, I'm on a first name basis with him. He has no idea that I exist, right? So totally fine there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to quickly look at some things that we can do to be better for our business to be impacted. So do we have anyone in here who's been in the business less than a year? Anyone been in the business less than a year? Okay, well, no. Raise your hand high. If you've been in the business less than a year, raise your hand high. Congratulations and condolences. Congratulations and see, look, everyone who's laughing at you right now, be aware of them because they know. They were like, you got in at an awesome time, girl. What's your name, ma'am? Gemma? Gemma, congratulations, welcome, and for real, condolences. Who's been in the industry more than a year but less than 5? More than a year, less than 5? Okay, hands down. Between 5 and 10? Hands down, and we're just gonna say more than 10. Some of you like, if you keep going up in 5-year increments, it's gonna be a long time. More than 10, so wait, more than 10, put your hands up. So you all are our adjunct professors, so you all have to help me through this thing, all right? So as we go through, do we have any CIPS designees? All right, so here's what we need. If you're a CIPS designee, raise your hand. So some of this is going to sound familiar, some of it is going to be an unfamiliar twist with you. But if you're a CIPS designee, you all have a duty. Yes, I said duty. And so the reason I say things like that, I'm a kids pastor for kindergarten through fifth grade, right? So whenever I get to have fun like this, you guys are like, yep, that's why I work with Realtors so well, right? Same thing. You all just have driver's license, that's it. So CIPS designees, we're going to talk about some terminology that we're familiar with. We're going to move at a little different pace for our friends and family in the room. So first, before we even talk about this right here on the screen, we're going to talk about some vocabulary. We love the word global. Any chance you have to say the word global, it just feels good, right? You're a global real estate practitioner. We love global. We like international, right? International, it doesn't have the ring of global, but international is okay. I specialize in international real estate. That's cute. I specialize in global real estate. Oh man, that's nice, right? If we have to use the word foreign, we will. No one likes to be called a foreigner. Am I right? But there are some legal purposes, maybe for visa purpose, immigration, maybe for tax, that we have to use the word foreign. So we'll see foreign. Now, some of us have been around the sun a few more times than the others. And we remember when there was a word that was commonplace and common use, but it wasn't meant to be offensive, and that's alien, right? Now, we are not using alien ever at all. You can't even call an extraterrestrial an alien right now. I think they're protected class as well. Right? So we understand we love global, like international. If we have to use foreign, we will, but we're never using alien. Everyone okay? We've got that much so far. All right. So two types of foreign clients, or global clients as I call them. And this is what's important to know. Not only the type of client, we want to know why and how that impacts our business. Non-resident foreigners, we'll call them type A. Less than 6 months in the U.S., typically investment buyer, right? Going to use it maybe for personal use, but less than 6 months. Type B, they're going to use the property for more than 6 months. Typically, they're going to purchase higher priced property. So this is our impromptu quiz. What country have we talked about that might be type A? What country might be type A? Which is it? Canadians. Do we start to understand now why? With the quiz, it wasn't just to lower your self-esteem, ladies and gentlemen. It was to start saying, okay, if I hear type A safe generalization that we can make is think Canadian. Less than 6 months, they typically don't want to lose the privileges that they might have. They don't want to be taxed on their world income, right? Now, type B, what country have we talked about that might be type B? One more time. China, the Chinese buyer. Look. They might reside more than 6 months, professional, educational, other reasons. Type A buyers typically spend less on the property or on the trade, the transaction. Type B, longer term. Our type B buyer usually thinks generational wealth. They're typically thinking owner occupancy for some way. Are we okay with those ideas? All right, now, if I am a condo specialist who specializes in short-term rental properties or co-ops, even down in South Florida, I would be wasting my resources if I targeted type B buyers. Do you all see why? Because if I am an investment agent and I'm trying to get type B buyers to purchase, I'm wasting my resources. That's not the best use. Now remember, we can't go in and target people because of the Fair Housing Act on nation of origin or country of origin. We're aware of that, right? But what I can say is I specialize in condos or rentals or seasonal properties. That's how we can safely do this right here. We're good so far. Why do we want to focus? Well, we'll look right here. Majority of Canadian, UK buyers. We'll see this here. And then China, Asian, Indian, Mexican are going to be type B buyers, right? That's just for us there. Why focus on international clients or global clients? What are some reasons we might focus on international or global clients? This right here, this is and this is already old. I did this one in 2020, but here's what I want us to look at. Here's why we want to focus on global clientele. The United States population accounts for only 5% of the world's population. 5% of the world's population is here in the US. And this is what I want you all to see as well. When we look at India and China, China has been the most populous country for as long as we remember, but we're anticipating within the next 3 years, because this gap has shortened, has closed, we're expecting India to overtake China as the most populous country in the world. What does that mean to us? Does that mean that maybe what we need to know and understand and how we communicate is going to be different? Absolutely. Does that mean the location, the geographical location of where maybe we look at our referrals, is that going to change? Probably so. And so we want to be aware of that. But here's the main reason. Once we understand this right here, and I know that Kathleen, she's going to talk about just the US and how we want to be number one, and then where we really are in different things. But maybe we have to think, if we're only 5% of the world's population, what do we have to learn from the other countries? What do we have to learn from the other cultures, right? How can we be better? Now this next one, I am not a flat earther, okay? I don't believe the earth is flat. I'm gonna make a statement. You all might laugh, but the reason we must specialize in global real estate is the world is shrinking. The world is shrinking. Let me ask, how many of you remember when there was a 24-hour news cycle where the news that came on in the morning was the same news that you went to bed to at night, right? That used to be a thing. When it took, my dad would say, the news travels around the world in a day. Now the news is happening every 8 or 9 seconds, something new or different with IG, TikTok, Twitter, or Facebook. And so as the world shrinks, and this is exactly what we were talking about, this globalization, just the interconnectivity. So here's what I'll tell you all. I mentioned I only touch 4% of transactions personally, but 67% of my business is done with non-native English speakers. Why is that? Because I've gotten really good at this part right here. My coaches, my mentors, they're really good at this. But this is an opportunity, but it's also a threat to each and every one of you in here. And if you embrace and understand the threat, here's what I'm going to ask. Can I still talk to you like family? Now you guys are like, man, after that quiz, we cannot talk at all. Okay, so as family, from Uncle Neal to you all. So here's the, oh, I forgot to tell you, here's the family member I am. Do you all have family reunions or gatherings? You all know what I'm talking about when the family gets together, maybe at the holidays. I'm that uncle that comes to the family reunion that the kids are excited to see, but mom and dad are like, oh, he actually showed up. Where you're going to get the information as a kid, you're like, ooh, I can't wait to see what he's gonna say or do, but it's gonna be entertaining. And the parents are like, just keep him away from the bar, right? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say something to you all, and it's going to hurt, but I need you to grasp it, because if you don't understand and believe this right here is going to cause us to fail. Do buyers, sellers need us in real estate right now? Do buyers and sellers need us to buy and sell real estate right now? The answer is absolutely not. Let me tell you why. Do they need you to view properties? Do they need you to write a contract? Do they need you to present offers? Do they need you to close? Here's our problem. Our problem is we haven't grasped the fact that we're either unemployed or we're unemployable. When you woke up this morning, you're either unemployed, meaning you didn't have listings or or buyers, or you're unemployable, meaning that if you did, they could fire you like this. When we grab hold that we are not needed. Now, here's what I will tell you. I do believe that every single person needs a realtor. All right, understand the difference. I believe that every single person needs a realtor, but we are not needed to do a transaction. Do you all understand what I'm saying to you? Now, here's what I'm going to ask you all as well. How many of you have ever been in a relationship where the other person needed you, right? Where they suffocated, where they needed you. It's one thing to be needed, but it's something totally different to be wanted, right? Have you ever been in a relationship where someone wanted you, and when you woke up and they looked at you while you were sleeping, like that's a different type of love. That's a different type of relationship. So our goal is to understand that we aren't necessarily needed, but we're wanted by the consumer base. Because if you aren't working, and if you don't understand this, buyers, you all right here do not need me as professionals. You all don't need me to sell property in Florida. You all don't need a single agent in Florida to sell property. You could figure it out. The internet, this has made that possible. Buyers and sellers right here, they don't need any of us, but we have to position ourselves. Why would they use us? So that's our big question. Why would I use you? If I'm a buyer or seller, especially a global buyer or seller, why would I hire you? Have you answered that question in the past 6 months? And it can't be because you're honest, because you have integrity and you get results. If we do a survey, everyone in here is going to be a liar and say they're honest. Every one of us is going to say, hey, because are we going to say we have integrity? Yes. Are we going to say that we get results? Yes. That's not good enough. So if all of us are honest, all of us have integrity, all of us have results, have we answered the question, why should a global buyer or seller use you? No. Is it because you speak their language? Can't be. I don't speak their language and I'm taking your business. I'm talking to you like family because I'm not touching the transactions, but I'm sending the referrals right here in your backyard. I'm doing the business. So here's what I need you all to know. I need you all to start leveraging this globalization. That's why, because the playing field has been flattened now. I don't need to speak Spanish. I don't need to travel across the world. I just got to be the best at what I do and position myself for people to find me. And that's my challenge to you. How many of you are using this right here to your advantage? How many of you are using that interconnectivity? How many of you say, I don't like the way I look, I sound? I don't care. The consumer, they don't care how you look or sound. They just need information, right? Here's another reason why we want to use or focus on global business. Median sales prices. Median sales prices for the global buyer is higher than it is for a domestic buyer. What does that mean for us? Come on, I'm glad there's one honest person here. More money. Now, if you all like working for free, I am hiring in the New York market. You all can come be a volunteer for me. But more money. And so if we're going to do this thing called real estate, then we want to make sure that we're being handsomely compensated for it. That's it right there. Now, maybe this isn't how you woke up this morning, but this might be how you go to bed tonight, right? If you say, man, if I do a couple of small tweaks, remember, I'm a first generation realtor from Alabama who only speaks English-ish. And I'm doing really well in a marketplace that some of you have an advantage for. So if you get really, really good at this thing, this is called loyalty. How many of you love the idea of client loyalty? We love the idea of client loyalty until they ask us to be loyal to them. What happens if you're really good and you have loyalty? What is the result of that? It is sales, business, but not only business. What is it? Come on. What's your name, young man? Your name? Nino with all the right answers. I like Nino. Nino, you and I, we need to talk when we're done, sir. Referrals. How many of you love referrals? Now here's Uncle Neal talking to you again. You all don't throw anything at me. Did they already take they took out the food, okay. If you're good at what you do, you're going to get referrals. If you're good at what you do, you're going to get referrals. If you're great at what you do, you're going to get a lot of referrals. Here's the flip side. If you're not getting referrals, it means that you might not be as good as you think you are. Okay? And here's why I say that. We know that the global buyer, their idea, they have a higher sense of loyalty than domestic individuals. Know, like, trust, right? That's very high, especially for our high context cultures. Know, like, trust, loyalty. If you are loyal, if they have your loyalty, if you do a great job, they have to tell someone. How many of you have told someone about an experience or something that you had, even if you didn't really enjoy it? The answer is like, it was good, it wasn't great, but I had a good experience. We've referred someone. Now, if we have loyalty, if we really know, like, trust someone, are we more likely to refer a friend? Absolutely. So I want you to ask a couple of questions today. The first one is, why would someone hire me? And then I want you to do a business analysis, hopefully by the end of this week. How much of your business is repeat or referral business? If a big part of your business is not repeat or referral business, the global niche might not be the place for you to jump in just yet. My coach tells me all the time, the worst thing that we can do is have an opportunity that we're ill-equipped for. Because then we're going to mess up, and then it's going to mess up our psyche, our self-esteem, and then we're just going to have this downward spiral. So if you do a business analysis and you start seeing that you don't have a lot of repeat or referral business, let's just wait, let's shore some things up. Because in this niche right here, if you're good at what you do, word is going to spread like wildfire. If you're bad at what you do, word is still going to spread. It's just not going to be to our benefit. So here's exactly what happened. This is how I got into global real estate. My wife and I, we love eating Thai food. Now, the problem with me liking Thai doesn't like me as much because I like Thai spicy. You all know there's a difference in regular spicy, American spicy, and Thai spicy, right? So Thai spicy, I lost my sweat stopper. I lost my sweat stopper a few years ago. And so when I eat Thai spicy food, it just starts coming. So we would eat at this restaurant called Wishi Thai twice a week. And my dad would always tell me, he said, hey, if you're gonna eat somewhere, tip really well, they'll want you to come back. My wife and I, we were generous tippers. And we would eat at Wishi Thai. And so it got to the point where the wait staff would say, Mr. Neal's coming. They had the paper napkins, for the patrons. But every time I would come, they would have a cloth napkin for me and my wife. They would sit us in this section. And then one day after the other, the owner of the restaurant, Supak, would come up to me. He says, Mr. Neal, you real estate guy, I need your help. All right, Supak, I'm here. What do you need? I need to buy a house. We buy his first house. 2 weeks later, Supak calls me. No one likes after we close, no one likes getting that call from the owner 2 weeks after you've closed on the property. He's like, Neal, I need help. What am I thinking? Man, I messed up. We're gonna have to sell a house. Supak says, I need to buy another house. All right, cool, Supak, we can do this. I like you, Supak. Supak and I, we purchased a property because his brother is coming into South Florida. Purchased a house for his brother. About 3 weeks later, Neal, I need your help. Now, I've definitely messed up because I'm not that good. I know me, I'm not that good. He says, one of my wait staff, they need rentals. They need a place to stay. So, entire wait staff of Wishi Thai, we start servicing them. About 4 months after, his brother closed, Neal, I want to buy a mall. A mall? Now, hold on. I know you're from Thailand and I'm from Alabama, but mall, he says, no, I want to buy a mall. So what does he buy? Strip mall. Then he buys another strip mall. Why? Because he's bringing family, friends in. Now, you're not going to find Thailand on any map or on any metrics or data report talking about the number of transactions. If I lost Thailand, my life changes. If I lose Supak, my life changes, right? But here's what I want to tell you. If you get really good at this thing, all it really takes is one transaction. So, and we talk about know, like, and trust. Supak wanted to buy a mall. I specialize in residential real estate. I said, Supak, I don't know commercial. You know what Supak's answer is? I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. So Supak, instead of having me refer him, know, like, trust. So Supak said, Neal, I'll wait for you to learn how to do commercial real estate. And he waited. And that was in 2012. And now, 2023, we are 40 transactions in. Lots of business there. And then when I tell people the Supak story, they're like, oh, if you can deal with Supak, you can deal with my client, then they refer me. Right? But this is what I want you all thinking about. How can we identify? Now, I will tell you, if you leave your business card at a restaurant, make sure you tip well. If they don't invite you back, then you're going to say, might need to tip a little bit better. But here's the other thing I want to tell you about why we want to specialize in global real estate. If you get good at this, it's going to open more doors that you don't expect. I did not expect to become a commercial realtor, but it opened doors. My first luxury listing came because of one of Supak's connections. And then that opened up everything. If you're good at what you do, then it's going to create opportunities. Where are foreigners buying? So we talked about the states, right? We talked about the top 5 states. What's the first state that foreigners are buying in the U.S.? Go. What is it? Florida is number 1. What's number 2? California. What's number 3? Now, I heard someone say Florida. Florida's already on the board, people. Texas. Why is Texas on the board?
Close to Mexico.
One more time.
Close to Mexico.
Mexico. Mexico is another country, ladies and gentlemen. Mexico is another country. Florida, California, Texas. All right. We've got two left. Who remembers what the two are? Okay, so what is number 4? Number 4 is Arizona. Why is Arizona on the board?
Mexico.
Arizona is on the board for 2 reasons. 1, Mexico, but number 2, many global businesses move into Arizona and they relocate their employees. This is what we need to know. I am a corporate relocation specialist, right? So we start looking. Yes, it started with Supac, but then I said, man, high context. There's a lot of things that I don't have to deal with. In Miami, I'm the weirdo. Can you all believe that? That's hard to believe. I'm the one that says sir and ma'am, right? Coming from Alabama. When I speak with my Hispanic or my Latin friends, if I say sir or ma'am, it seems like you're aging me. You make me feel old. When I say sir or ma'am to my high context cultures, it's a sign of respect. And so now they want to work with me. By me wearing a bow tie, I don't just do this because I know how to tie bow ties. It signifies something to my high context countries and clientele. He's someone that I can trust. If I had come up here in a t-shirt, flip-flops, and shorts, even though I'm from Miami, you guys would have been like, I don't know if this is the right guy to talk to us this morning, especially with it as cold as it is. But how can you take these things and leverage and increase your business? All right, so number 5 is what? Number 5 has to be New York. Number 6 is, I mentioned it, North Carolina. And then number 7 is New Jersey. And so here's why. 54%. I need you all to start building relationships with these states. I need you to. And here's how we're going to do it. You all know all of that local information that you get from the Long Island Board of Realtors that talks about market stats that you all just throw in your trash. Those market stat information, that members only information that me as a Florida realtor that I cannot get, that information that you guys get from New York Association. I need you all to get all of that information, and I need you to offer that to agents outside of your marketplace. This is the playbook. I just go in and get all of Miami stats, all of Florida Realtor stats, and I say, hey, I am increasing, I want to improve the quality of my referral network. I'm sending out information, market stats, list price to sales price ratio, absorption rates, month supply of inventory, days on market for Miami, for Florida. I'm sending that to you all, and I'm sending it unbranded. Why am I sending it unbranded? If my name and my face is on it, you're not going to share the information. I need to give you all information. I need to give my friends in California, Texas, Arizona, market stat information to educate them. Here's what I know. Everyone likes and loves someone who makes them look like a rock star. If I make my colleagues in these states look like rock stars, what are they going to do when they have a referral, when they have a question? They're going to ask me, Neal, who do you trust in Arizona? So I'm in Florida. I'll speak to someone in California. Neal, who do you trust in Arizona? I trust this person. And guess what I'm getting? You all remember where that other 63% of my business is coming from. I'm not touching the transaction. That's the way, if you want to. And this is only domestically. We haven't even talked about the global side of it, right? As far as going outside. So do you all see some opportunities here? Yes? All right. So what's the number one challenge? Biggest challenge when it comes to global real estate is? Biggest challenge in real estate is? In global real estate? Culture. Culture. The first answer is typically language. Language is so small. What's the only language that you need to speak in order to succeed in real estate? What's the only language that you need to speak? What's the most important language? The language of respect. I speak the language of respect. So when I'm talking to Supac, that's one thing. When I'm talking to one of my Japanese clientele, it's something totally different. Have we heard of the book Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands? If you have not heard of the book, Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands, unfortunately, I have not worked out a deal with Wayne and Terry yet for me to get any royalties off of it. But get the ugly second edition. It's ugly, the brown one. Get the ugly second edition version of Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands by Terry Morrison. Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands, ugly, thick, second edition book. And here's why you want to have that. It's going to give you all of those cultural best practices, tips on doing business in other countries. Not to be sacrilegious, I call it my global business Bible, right? I go in as things happen, as things change, maybe in some countries that my clients are working in or living in, I go through and I mark the book. I might dog ear it, right? As things change. For instance, I was speaking to one of my Peruvian friends over here. Some things have changed in Peru in the past 6 months, right? And so I'll go in and I'll make notes in my book so that I know where I need to be culturally aware or sensitive. Because now I have to understand, at the time, like end of December, early January, I had some Peruvian buyers. You think they cared anything about buying or selling real estate? We were under contract, but I'm talking to them about inspection days or closing escrow, and their home country is in upheaval. And so now I have to say, how do I communicate this? Do I sit down with them? Typically, I'll make a phone call. Maybe my 15-minute phone call now needs to be an hour sit down for them to unload and for me to let them know that I care. When you all got dressed this morning, and you all did an exquisite job of getting dressed this morning, did you say, I need my shoes, I need my keys, let me leave my culture on the cabinet? No, we didn't. We bring our culture with us everywhere we go, so that's going to be one of the biggest challenges. This is what influences buying decisions. Kathleen, what time? Got it, Roger Rabbit, thank you very much. What influences buying decisions? Number one, we said proximity to home country. Now, here's the beautiful and the crazy thing. You might not like your family or your home country, but you want to be able to get back just in case, right? So, Nino said true. Like me, I'm from Alabama. I only usually go back for funerals or weddings, right? But I like to know that I can get back if I had to. These other three, presence of family, friends, associates, employment, and educational opportunities, these are going to be our big drivers. Are we talking about for our type A or type B? Who cares about these three the most, type A or type B? Type B. Type B. So if you specialize in working with owner-occupant buyers or someone who's going to be in a property for use, you really want to consider all of these things. So in your buyer book, or even the way you market a property for sale, we want to put a high emphasis on these right here. Climate and location is going to be a big deal for our type A. For instance, I know Canadian buyers are choosing Florida first, Arizona second. Just give us some sun. Florida first, Arizona second. So in my marketplace for my Canadian or my type A buyers, I am not building networks with agents in New York for a type A, right, for my Canadian clientele. Do we see why this helps us make smart decisions? And ultimately, that's the goal. The goal is, how can I make smart decisions? How can I position myself to be in front of and build a business so that others want to find me? So we're going to look at some resources really quickly, some resources that you want to use for building your global business. The first one is one that all of you have access to, but you probably have not used it recently to build your global business. It's called the internet. You all know the internet? All right. Al Gore invented it. I don't know if you all remember Al Gore from Alabama. He claims to have invented the internet in his living room. So the internet is going to be the first one. Using the internet, have you all used, has anyone here gone to a local Chamber of Commerce's website in the past 6 months? Let me tell you something about your Chamber of Commerce. Their research budget is much bigger than ours individually. So unless you want to invest or sink a considerable amount of your time, energy, and resources into doing market research, leverage the Chamber. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to become a member. I'm just saying, go on their website. If something is happening when it comes to business, even small business. They typically know months, if not years, before the general public. If I am a global buyer, why am I hiring you? Hopefully one of the answers is I know everything that you don't know about the local market. If you don't know more than your global buyer about your local market, there's no reason for them to hire you. They can hire me in Miami to find out about what's happening in Long Island because I go on the Chamber's websites. I have the resources. This is that unfair advantage. When I say unfair advantage, it's unfair because I'm using it and you're not, right? So now, Chamber of Commerce is going to be one. Trade.gov. Trade.gov is another site. Why do we care about trade.gov? Why do we care what's happening on the economic side of things? Because where the money goes and flows, people are going to follow. Depending on what's happening between countries and their political affiliations or their economic affiliations is going to have a big impact, especially as we come out of the pandemic. We want to know, where is the trade going? Where's the money flowing? What's the good relationships? This is why we start to see things. Now, we're going to talk about politics for a moment because I mentioned trade.gov. This is why it's so important that we care about things like RPAC, right? Because, for instance, in South Florida, I know you all had some different challenges than we did. We were declared important, workers within, our lockdown lasted for like 3 weeks. So we were able to sell like this. We were able to get out and sell like this. And a big part of that was because of RPAC and what we were able to do, right? At the state level. And so that's why major investors, I know you all have heard it, become a major investor. If you love this thing, if you love it, if this is something that you want to have for you, maybe your kids, if it makes a difference for you and your livelihood, become a major investor, or at least do the minimum. And now the reason I talk about the political side of, economics, if we have leaders who might say something off the wall about a country or a people, let's say the U.S. says something crazy about Mexico and the people, are you all with me so far? But Mexico has strong trade alliances with China. Are you all with me? China could say, you mess with our brother, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get all of our shipping liners, our freight liners, right off of your coast in California, and we're going to let them sit there for you to watch them. And then we think it's because of supply chain shortage. No, we're going to teach you a lesson. Okay? That's why I want you all to plug in, understand. Do we talk about religion and politics in business? No, we don't. Do we understand religion and politics? Yes, we do. If you don't know religion and politics, the U.S. and those are for the countries and the clientele that you're looking to serve, you're already behind. So I want to stress that to you. Census.gov. Census.gov is another resource. Census.gov. I want you all to know what's happening. I need you all to know what's happening when it comes to migration patterns, when it comes to the population, who's coming, who's going. If you don't know, you are behind. You cannot answer questions if you don't know who's asking the questions. So we have this idea called the ideal client avatar. Who is your ideal client? Who is your ideal client? Do you know how old they are, what they look like, their demographic range, their economic income per household? If you don't know that, are we familiar with RPR? Realtors Property Resource? Use RPR. All of that information is in RPR, but you're going to go under commercial reports, RPR, commercial reports, and you're going to go to trade area report. RPR, so that's NARRPR.com. NARRPR.com, or just RPR if you want to find it, Realtors Property Resource. You're going to go under commercial reports or reports and go all the way down, and it's a commercial report, but it's called trade area report. You're going to do something as simple as type in a zip code. You all know every time that you use your debit or credit card and they ask for the zip code, or you're at the gas station, ask for the zip code, all of that stuff. What they're doing is they're finding out, they're getting this data to see who's spending. They know your age, they know your race, they know the income that you make because they know what you reported on your taxes, right? And so they take all of that information. RPR gives us this information. So for me, I've given my ideal client, I have two ideal clients. One is from a global buyer and one is for my domestic luxury seller. I know who they are. I've given them names. James and Julie Betterman. They are Caucasian individuals who are 64 to 70 years old. Their median income is about $170,000 a year. I know their worth, their net worth. I know the house that they purchased is waterfront property with dockage, but it's showing the tax records that it's worth, $438,000. What does that tell me? They've lived in the home for a long time. What does that tell me? In the pandemic, 86% of them were homeowners. So when we had these challenges with inventory, I went to James and Julie Betterman and I said, hey, are you interested in capitalizing on this opportunity? Right? Do you all see how? Once you know the information. I'm no smarter than you all. I'm just dumb enough to be obedient. I'm just dumb enough to know that I'm not smarter than the others who are telling me to do it. All right? So RPR is a fantastic resource. We want to use that. And then that goes back to census.gov. LIBOR, the website, the global resources. Have you all been on there recently? Do you know the events that are coming up? Do you know of global networking events or trade missions? I know they're having some virtual trade missions. Have you all registered for those yet? If not, you're already behind. Because here's the beauty of the internet. Here's the beauty of what we learned in the pandemic. I don't have to go anywhere to be good. I can be good right from my home. Now, it did cause some of us to become lazy. And we're like, I'm just getting dressed from the waist up today, right? If that's your deal, just make sure you turn the camera off before you stand up. I've seen it all right? So here's what we're gonna ask. Have you gone and taken advantage of the resources that LIBOR makes available to you with the global resources? Have you looked at the Global Perspectives videos? When you start looking and seeing the names that they're putting up for the individuals that Evan interviews, are you all reaching out to these individuals? He's not interviewing chumps. He's interviewing people who are decision makers and leaders of organizations. People that other people already know, like, and trust and respect. So if he's interviewing them and he's given the name and the title of the organization, do you think it might behoove you to find out who they are, reach out to them, introduce yourself, and say, thank you for sharing the information? Everyone likes to be appreciated. That's why I get invited into rooms that we have no business being in, because I make sure we show appreciation, right? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for this. Who do you know that I can know? Fantastic question. In the global real estate space, I want you to ask this question right here in addition to others. Who do you know that I should know? That's the first part. Who do you know that I should know? And the second part of that is, will you introduce me? Who do you know that I should know, and will you introduce me? In this world where connections are so important, in the global real estate world, but in this world where connections, meaning our physical world, have become so rare, asking someone, who do you know that I should know, and will you introduce me, opens doors. That has gotten me into rooms that I have no business being in. Now, we're only talking about global real estate. Can we apply this to everything that we do? Absolutely. We want to ask those questions. Kiss, bow, or shake hands. We talked about the book. I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to tell you, get the book. Get the physical version of the book. That's a non-negotiable. If you don't get the $14 or $15 book off of Amazon, you're not going to do anything else. I know that for a fact, right? CIPS, my CIPS designees. If you're after this, if you have questions about CIPS, ask me. I know Evan mentioned that they've been pushing it hard. They're going to be talking about it all month long. I don't care if you get the CIPS designation. I'm a CIPS national instructor, by the way. I don't care if you get the designation. I want you to get the information. Get the information. If you never apply for the designation, if you want to pay the $200 and then if you don't, I don't care. I don't need you to get the designation. I need you to, one, get the information, start understanding what you need to know. If you don't know what it is that you need to know, you're already losing, okay? And then the next reason, if you can take the CIPS designation, either in live presentation or virtual presentation with a live instructor and class, take it that way. Because more important than the information are the relationships and the connections that you make. So as an instructor, part of our class has to be informational, but where the real value is, who do you know now because you took the class? Who knows someone that you need to know and might introduce you? That's where the value comes in, even if it's going to be in breakout rooms. And then we're going to make sure that we leverage those local stats. You all do you all go onto your board, a website, pull those research numbers, those market information? Are you all using that? Let's leverage that information. Say, hey, and here's how we do it. Here's why so much of my mentors, how they're doing tons more of real estate than me. They're taking information that they get from New York, New Jersey, California. They're sending them, I'm sending them my local information and state information, my members only information, not that publicly available stuff, right? I'm sending that to them. And in return, I'm asking, hey, would you send me yours? They're sending me theirs. And what am I doing with it? I'm taking all of that and I'm putting it together into a newsletter or a quarterly report. And now I'm sending that out to my global practitioners in other states and across the world. And now what they're saying is, Neal, I have a client in this that's in this country that wants to purchase in this state. I saw from your market update report that you have the information. Who do we need to talk to? That's the way the game is played at a higher level. It's not us touching every transaction, right? So maybe you can start building relationships with agents by sharing what only you have access to. Now, some of you have to go to your spam folder or your trash folder to get that information because you've been throwing it away. That's the stuff that is money. That's where I make all of my money. Everything that my colleagues are throwing away, I just package it and I disseminate it in a way that's easy for people to digest. All right? Another resource that we're going to want to use. Is anyone here using meetup.com or Eventbrite to find out what global events are happening? Meetup.com or Eventbrite. You're going to want to go to meetup.com or Eventbrite, find out what global events are happening because realtors are too lazy to go there. If you go to these events, if you go to, like for instance, I'm in a number of different clubs that have nothing to do with real estate. I go to these events and I just happen to be the only realtor there, but I understand culture and I'm talking. So I love Japanese karate, right? So I practice Okinawan Shiri-ryu. So my number one client base outside of my domestic is going to be my Thai individuals, right? My Thai circle. Then it's Japan just because of the martial arts connection. And then after that is India. And India is solely because of the number of transactions they do. So that's a business, right? But then I come in and I start getting invited to the Thai events that are happening in South Florida. Am I the only one that looks and sounds like me at this event? Absolutely. Do I want to be the token guy at this event? Absolutely. Put yourselves in uncomfortable positions. They will appreciate it. Whoever they are, they will appreciate it. Your bank account will appreciate it. If you have a significant other that also has access to that bank account, they will appreciate it, all right? So we talked about CIPS, local markets. Here we go. Now we're going to figure out quickly how to become the agent of choice. Here's how you become the agent of choice. The reason why people hire you is probably going to have nothing to do with you. It's going to be about who do you know. Do you already have an A team? I'm not talking about with Mr. T and Face and all them, but do you have an A team? If I sent you a global client right now, would you know an immigration attorney? Would you know someone that would help them with their taxes? Would you know someone that could help them maybe with their health care? Now you guys are like, health care? Do you all know that as confusing as taxes are here in the US, our healthcare system is more confusing? What if we go above and beyond just a little bit, and in our buyer book or presentation, we say, hey, I'm your one-stop shop. My goal is to be my clientele's Google, or their Bing, or if you're from the 90s, their Yahoo, right? I want to be the one that they call when they have questions about, I don't understand healthcare. Great, I know a guy. Right? So we want to build these people into our database. Immigration attorney, real estate attorney, translators, accountants. Do you have a currency exchange specialist right now in your network? If not, get them now. Business is moving at the speed of seconds. They're not going to wait on us to catch up with them. If you want to sell, if you really want to sell working with the affluent or global clientele, you're going to want to say, hey, I have everything you need. I've anticipated every issue that you're going to run into in this transaction. And then what we want to do is systematize it, put it in a buyer book, leverage video, and that's how we're going to become the agent of choice. Do you understand, or have you researched whether or not there are MLSs in the countries that your clients are coming from or in their marketplace? We often like to say buyers are liars and sellers are worse, right? But the problem is we haven't educated them. Have you, becoming the agent of choice, have you gone in and practiced your marketing consultation for sellers or your buyer consultation in the past 6 months? How many of you have practiced your marketing or your buyer's consultation in the past 6 months via Zoom or WhatsApp? If you haven't, guess what? You're already behind. I know that when I'm doing a buyer consultation for a global buyer via Zoom, I have to lean in and back out every 7 seconds just so they don't fall asleep on me. If you all wonder why I'm moving around, I don't have a pacing problem. You all have an attention problem. And I say you all because I'm one of you. How much difference? How much does it change if I'm right here for an hour? If you haven't practiced your buyer consultation for your global clientele in the past 6 months, Zoom is not going away. Everything, we're moving to this, where the only time I'm going to meet you is if you pay me cash. That's it, right? Otherwise, you can use crypto to pay me. Right? So if it's not going away, if you haven't practiced your consultation electronically, then you're not my agent. Have you practiced your colleague consultation? Have you practiced your spiel to me in Miami why I should add you to my referral network? If you haven't, you're missing about 60, I would be missing about 64% of my business if I couldn't sell myself to someone else who doesn't need me. There's millions of us as realtors, right? And so now they're going to say, Neal, why Neal? Honesty, integrity, results. Nah, next. Have you practiced those things? Have you talked about, do you know the 6 things or the few things that you want to ask your clientele? Have you explained to them how the MLS works? Have you explained to them agent or brokerage agency or loyalty? And just so you all are aware, most of our global clientele, they're going to want client level service. Now, depending on what your state laws are or your brokerage laws, what they allow you, brokerage rules, what they allow you to do, you have to ask, can I give a client level service or do I have to keep them at a customer level? Am I single agent? Do we have no brokerage relationship, or is there a transaction broker in there? And so you all have to ask that question, and then you want to understand that most of our global buyers and even our sellers, they're going to want client level service. Don't break any rules, all right? Don't have DBPR knocking on your door, anything like that. And then the main thing, the reason why they're really going to hire you is because of your team of professionals. So in the last 5, we're going to do this in 4 minutes. Last 4 minutes, we're going to quickly go through this action plan. Here's how we identify who we want to work with. First, choose an area of specialization. Now, when I say area of specialization, we can't break any rules of the fair housing, right? We can't say, I'm only working with Asian Indians. We cannot do that. We can say we're going to specialize on a type of property or a geographical location. It's not one of the protected classes. We're good with that idea. So for me, I chose Thailand. Now, I don't target Thailand. I just like Thai food, right? And so wife and I, we just go to every Thai restaurant we can find. And then what do? They go on my YouTube and they see us doing videos at Thai restaurants. And then they see Supak's story. And then do you all see how this plays? We're not targeting, so we have to get creative. Choose an area of specialization. Maybe it's where you're from, but instead of being the country where you're from, you're saying, what's my connection? What's my tie? Maybe your tie-in is going to be, I understand the global business or the global buyer's perspective. I've been you. This is where I'll tell you, you all have an advantage over me. I haven't been someone who's willing to leave everything they have for a chance at a dream. Now, I've read about it, but is it different? Absolutely. Some of you are sitting on something right now that if you bring it to the forefront, it's going to propel you to a success and to win. So after we choose our area of specialization, maybe it's a type of property, we want to become the local expert. So choose an area and then become the local expert. Here's why. If I say that I'm going to work with investors, like maybe Canadian type buyers, type A, if that's going to be my area of specialization, it would be ill-advised for me to become a local area expert about single-family homes with acreage, because that's not what my area of specialization is. So we decide, who do we want to specialize, or what niche do we want to specialize in first? Then we want to know everything we can about the local market. After we learn everything about the local market, we want to become intelligent to have conversations about what's happening in the global space. First thing most of us do is we start learning everything globally, and it's for nothing. So, area of specialization, know your local market. Median days on market, month supply of inventory or absorption rate, list price to sales price ratio. You have to know that stuff. Then you want to start looking at things that are happening globally. And then here's the fun part. Then we tell the whole world that we're the absolute best at selling global real estate. And when I say everyone, the only secret agent that gets paid is going to be James Bond. The rest of us, everyone has to know what it is that you do, all right? And then we're going to come in and we're going to find people where they are, connect with them. We're going to use Meetup. We're going to use networking events. One of the greatest networking strategies that I have is that I intentionally network. I have a minimum hour and a half drive away from my home. I want to get in different marketplaces. If you only network in your marketplace, you're missing a piece of business. These people who are sitting next to you, they like you, but if it comes down to you or the commission, they're choosing the commission, right? So here's what I need you all to do. I need you to get far enough away so that someone would need to refer you business. For us, it's an hour and a half in my marketplace. For you, an hour and a half might be 3 blocks, right? For us, oh no, I like traffic. This thing is different. So how far do you need to go so that someone needs to refer you? That's where I want you to make your new networking hub. I want you to say, I'm going outside of here. I'm going to network like crazy because I know who my target is. I'm going to then know my local market better than anyone else. I'm going to tell my referral colleagues that I'm working to impress, and I know my spiel, why they should work with me. We're going to go where they are. Maybe it's going to be a networking event that has nothing to do with real estate. And then number 6 is you rinse and repeat. After you've done that, you choose another specialty. So first, I just got really good working with Thai individuals. Then, because of my martial arts love, I went into Japanese buyers, and they have 2 different types of product they're looking for. And then we went with India as far as the type of product they're looking for. And about 3 is as much as I can do, right? So that's the way that we want to operate. Now, here's what. I don't have any business cards with me, but I do have this QR code here. You can scan that. Everything that you want to know about me, well, not everything. Everything I'm going to share with y'all is on there, whether it's my social media, any of that information is there. You can open that up. But here's what I'm going to tell you all as I close. I open every presentation the exact same way, and that is giving honor and respect where it's due, and that's to our military personnel. But there's something I want to tell you all as your uncle now, right? I don't know when the last time you heard this is. I don't know if it was pre-pandemic, if it was before you came here today, or maybe it has been years or decades. But if you're still here on this spinning orb that we call Earth, you're here for a reason. And you have a purpose, and your purpose is not completed. So I want to encourage you, I want you all to know that what we do makes a difference, not in real estate. How you show up every day with your family, your friends, your loved ones makes a difference. And I don't know if it has been a while, but I want today to be your day zero. So I want to tell you that I love you. I love each and every one of you. If there's anything that I can do for you, make sure you all let me know. But I need you all to do something for me. Chances are there's someone in your life that needs to hear I love you from you today. Even if they're putting indentations on your couch on a daily basis, and you still open the door and you feed them and let them in, and your feel is they know I love them because I let them in the house. Especially those people. Because if we've learned anything in the past 2 years, past 3 years, it's that a word not spoken is a word that can sit on us and sit in us as regret. Right? So I just want to say I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. If you need anything, I will be around. I am going to ask that you all please, please, please do not compare my presentation to Kathleen's, because I lose that one every day. Right? That's why I wanted to go first, so I didn't have anything to live up to. All right, so I am done. I think, am I welcoming Evan? Who am I welcoming back? Oh, come on, okay, here we go. Thank you all so much. You all have been amazing.